Randy and Jason Sklar, for those terrestrial radio listeners, we just saw a hilarious John Hamm-fronted sketch from a clip of the new show, The Nosebleeds with the Sklar brothers, that you can see on UFC Fight Pass. It's already started this past weekend right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Great, again, to see you guys here.
Me too. Thank you.
So did you basically go pitch these guys at UFC? Like, hey... we want to redo the cheap seats that we used to do back in the day.
Rich, we've done a ton of shows. You know that. You've been so generous to have us come on and promote these shows when we've done them. But through our career, the show that people keep telling us, we want you to bring back cheap seats, bring back cheap seats. How can you do that?
From ESPN Classic.
From the classic
days, which it was on all the time. And I love that they like to tell us, like, oh, it's not really getting great ratings, yet everyone saw it.
You know, we're like backstage at the Rome show, and Snoop Dogg is like, hey, man, that's my cheap seats. We're like, yes. Aaron Rodgers in the store is like, cheap seats? Where's your brother? And I'm like, okay, I don't believe that people weren't watching this show.
Yes.
Tons of people watch it. Tons of people were like, bring it back. We always were looking for who's going to do this. Let us do this the way we want to do it. Crowley Sullivan. I don't know if you remember that gentleman.
Of course, that name sounds
Michigan
familiar.
State's own Crowley Sullivan. He's wonderful. He ran ESPN Classic, bounced around, ends up at the UFC, builds up their Fight Pass, which is their streaming service, and he goes
which is like their classic. It's like their library of all the
old fights, everything that they've ever produced. And he said, all right, I want to do original programming. And they said, yes, you can. First phone call was to us. He said, do you want to redo cheap seats? And we said, yes, but can we call it The Nosebleeds because it's about fighting.
It's fighting.
He said, yes.
I thought that was because ESPN was going to sue your asses.
No, I mean, that's a good point.
And literally, I don't care. But they were like, no. And so, but it's fine. We were like, let's do something new, but it has the spirit of the old show. And we go into the original moments of UFC. First episode's available on YouTube. It's on UFC's YouTube page. Yes. It's UFC 1. UFC 1.
Denver, Colorado, 1993. Now, when did you start SportsCenter? In 90?
I started in 96.
96.
So
go back to that moment. You're still at Michigan, or you would maybe just graduate from Michigan.
93, I'm 3 years clear.
Okay. 3 years clear.
I'm actually, if you really must know, I mean, I could go deeper.
Yeah.
But I was a staff writer for the Staten Island Advance, wondering where I was going with my career and my life.
Thank you.
Let's go.
You're like an untatted Pete Davidson. Okay? Staten Island zone. You're doing your thing.
Every Kardashian wants to be with you. We get it.
Inkless Pete Davidson.
Inkless Pete is a great name for a fantasy team.
Is your fantasy team.
It does sound. It also sounds like a character from Breaking Bad. But anyway,
Totally. See, English Pete.
So, what did UFC 1 look like?
It looked hilarious.
First of all, Jim Brown was
for some reason is like a co-announcing.
Yeah, our joke was Jim Brown,
like CBS's James Brown.
No, Jim Brown, the
running back,
player?
the running back, the Dirty
What?
Dozen.
Hold on a minute. Jim Brown was an analyst for UFC 1.
Our joke was, was O.J. Simpson not available? And Randy's like, he was, or was he booked?
It was the mid-'90s. He
wasn't booked. He was in the process of being booked.
Right, so...
Ladies and gentlemen, The Nosebleeds with the Sklar brothers. Okay.
It's so fun.
I mean, Brian Kilmeade from Fox and Friends was the ring, like in the ring reporter.
He was the Joe Rogan before Joe Rogan?
Not even Joe Rogan. He was lower than that. He was just in the ring being like, there's padding on this fence. And you're like, okay, Brian. And it's like, it's hilarious. The whole thing is crazy. No weight classes.
Yeah, so you have a sumo wrestler
fighting a savate guy. You've got it's so, some guy's tooth gets kicked out and they have to end the fight.
Art Jimerson, a boxer, fights Hoist Gracie, he's one of the, legends of jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
And he fights him with one boxing glove. The other hand doesn't have a glove on it.
Always good to telegraph where your punches are coming from.
That's right.
Nice work, buddy.
Nice job. Even Michael Jackson was like, put on another glove. Yeah. I mean, at this point. Yes. And you don't want to take advice from that guy about anything.
No. Were there any celebrities, luminaries that were Octagon side back in the day?
Nobody. So, how it's grown.
Not even like Olandis Gary? I'm trying to name a 93 Bronco. I'm predating Olandis Gary. I'm just trying to
That's a good one.
It was a 93
Dante
Bronco.
Bichette maybe would have. Because it's a young Todd Helton out of school
young Andres Galarraga.
The big cat. The big cat.
Big cat. He was on the 93 Colorado luminary sports fans.
Those teams.
So, okay.
So it's that, but it's also like the first episode of The Ultimate Fighter, which was their, kind of
a reality show that really saved the brand. Like when UFC kind of was struggling to establish itself, they were like, we need more stars. They do this, The Ultimate Fighter reality show, and all of a sudden, all those guys, a lot of those guys go on to start fighting and make a name for themselves, and everyone's behind them, and then the brand expands. But in the first episode, it's crazy. Some dude's fighting some other guy. Some guy pees on someone else's bed. It's magical.
Pees on his bed while they film it.
He said, and then his excuse was, I just spritzed his bed.
We're like, I don't think R. Kelly would buy that excuse.
Yeah, I don't know if that flies with that guy.
Just
I shouldn't laugh at that. Why am I laughing?
Not funny.
Guys in jail. But like the point is, this show, Randy and I were trying to think. I don't think there's another show on TV or streaming or anywhere that has as many jokes per second.
Just you can watch it over and over. And they're all under 20 minutes. We're like, let's make them under 20 minutes so that it's easy viewing, whips by.
Sure.
It's good.
Great.
So the Nosebleeds with the Sklar brothers, UFC Fight Pass. You can check it out. Again, it premiered last Saturday, July 30th. Additional episodes release on August 20th, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. I'll be honest with you. For some reason, if you had asked me when did the UFC begin, like when would UFC 1, I would not have said 93.
What would you have thought, like 2002 or something like that?
I would have thought later than that even.
Really?
Yeah.
So, then again, think of how it's grown even in the last 5-10 years. It's grown to a place.
Randy and I were like, the flashpoint for us, and maybe Brockman, you'll agree with this, like, and I don't know if you'll agree with this. I don't know how much of a boxing fan you are, but when boxing kept refusing to make the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight and kept holding that away from us.
Well, they weren't refusing, just the two sides couldn't get together.
Agree, but I'm
saying
no
boxing governing body
how to split up the 9-figure pie.
Right. So then that fight kept not happening. Meanwhile, UFC's over here making every fight you want to see every single week.
I don't think that fight took so long to make. Pacquiao release 3 albums during that period of time.
2 Christmas and 1 Hanukkah album.
1 Hanukkah album.
But it was that thing where you go, oh, wait, over here they're making these fights and they're great. And Conor McGregor's growing up and
this past Saturday they made Peña Nunes 2.
Right.
The first fight was 8 months ago, and it was an amazing fight, which if it were boxing, you wouldn't see it for 3 years.
So what is the goal here? To every single time there is a UFC fill in the blank, there's a Nosebleeds group of shows that come with it?
That would be beautiful.
So there's
that's the idea?
Yeah, there's a deep reservoir of all the stuff. Like we did an event that happened during the pandemic in Alaska that was looked like it was filmed in someone's...
This is like episode 5 of this run right here.
It was filmed in someone's backyard. It looked like a backyard thing, and everything about it. The mic was hot. It kept blowing out. You have people announcing, like the announcer came up in the ring with his hat clipped to his belt buckle.
Like, I think no one's going to steal your hat, man.
I think the announcer. You could leave it at the table, bro.
They're shooting through the fence. We're like, can't you shoot from a drone? I mean, it's Alaska. Doesn't everyone have a drone in Alaska?
Yeah, right.
And it was really fun to do. And that just happened last year. And then you go all the way back into the 90s, UFC 1, UFC 2, UFC 3.
Well, another clip that we were going to show, but it just didn't work for people listening on the radio, which is a large part of our audience. Is you doing the, if you will, cheap seats or nosebleeds version of a Butterbean fight.
We did 2 Butterbean fights. And first of all, everyone called him, all the ring announcers called him Butterbean. We're like, so his first name is Butter and his last name is Bean?
Sort of like a two name thing?
Right. I think it's all one.
It's Butterbean. It's like connected, like the top of his head to the back of his neck. Connected.
That's what I thought. Connected. like he's the brother of Jelly?
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like that's what it is? It's different, many different...
Butterbean.
Lima? It's Lima time?
It's Lima time.
Before Jose took it from...
That guy's never seen a green vegetable. Come on, guys.
He said he looks like if Michael Chiklis shielded himself from vegetables. That's what Butterbean looks like. I'm sure if Butterbean finds us, he's going to... If he can catch us,
he's going to get us both. But
we looked it up. He's still alive, right?
So still with us.
He's still kicking?
He's only 55.
But seriously, that's a miracle. He's 408 pounds. It's a miracle that he's still kicking.
He's still with us.
He is still with us. I think he has a restaurant, like a barbecue restaurant down in...
I thought it would have been great if he had like a creation type smoothie place.
God.
Just the exact opposite.
So do you know
somebody nicknamed after a turkey?
You know Color Me Mine? He has like a studio where they just make small pottery for children.
No, he does.
But
come on, man.
Those things were great.
It would be called Butter Me Mine.
Butter Me Mine.
Butter Me Mine. Why are we coming up with these ideas for Butterbean?
You know what? We're spitballing. We're spitballing.
I love it.
It's like a Nosebleeds.
It is like a Nosebleeds out here. But look, UFC for years had to fight to be an accepted sport and fight to have that sort of acceptance in the mainstream. So for a long time, it's like you can't make fun of yourself as you're making
Because
your
other
way.
people are making fun of you as a sport.
What's cool is like at this point right now, they're like, we can look back at what we were in 1993. Like we can look at our yearbook picture in 1990, knowing who we are today, and say why were
today, obviously, our fashion sense is strong.
Jason
Yeah,
looks
I
like
mean,
he's. When did you become a gymnastics coach in Romania in 1987?
It does look like you're about to carry Kerry Strong off.
Yeah,
That's
just
right.
help her off the mat. Okay,
She needs to learn to work through the pain. Is what I'm trying to say.
She worked through a lot of pain.
Seriously, like you've got something, Randy, on like from the Andy Reid collection.
Jason,
I say you look like a Jewish Magnum PI.
Fine. Menachem PI. I'll take it.
Menachem
PI. I'll take it.
You look like a porn star's uncle. Is what you look like.
I look like a porn star's uncle who also works at Trader Joe's. You know what I mean?
You look like you have 14 magazine subscriptions.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's what you look like.
And then this is a choice, though.
Jay's
It's a
jacket,
choice, man.
This jacket is very polarizing. Jay wears this
People
jacket.
love it or
For
hate
people
it.
listening at home, it is a fluorescent green jacket
With like a pink,
hot pink fuchsia lines and a blue
with a
line
blue-
through
yeah,
it.
like
a
a
blue
blue
line
line,
through it.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
well
There's
done.
nobody would say put these three colors together and make a jacket, and yet he does it, and yet
works.
people love it.
People love it.
absolutely love it.
Well, I think that's what they'll be talking about this appearance right here on the Rich Eisen Show.
Remember Jay's jacket?
Randy and Jason Sklar right here on the program. Okay, so is the idea again to get like maybe Dana White involved? Can you get him involved to make fun of himself?
Yeah, we're gonna try. And we wrote a bit for him to do in the show.
and he
What is
couldn't
it?
do it.
So
but
the bit was, and it's in the Alaska episode, and we got Andy Richter to do it, which is, by the way, no small
He was
consolation.
in one of those chairs just last week.
love him.
The best. I love him. So we did it. We wrote a bit. The original bit was, what if we call up tech support because one of our computers is not working, and they open the door and it's Dana White, and we're like, "Your tech support."
He's
for
like,
you-
yeah, and I got a lot to do.
Just,
So let's
what is it?
let's
What's
go.
wrong
What
with
do
the thing? And then he starts to try to fix the computer, eventually can't fix it, and just smashes the hell out of it.
Oh.
So fun. And we started writing for him. He obviously is too busy, but we're always going to try and think of something to drop him into because he likes the show. He thinks it's funny. He's
Okay.
seen the show. So him being in it, I think, is a further endorsement of it. We realize that we're like doing something that UFC has never done before, which is taking a full comedy swing. And we're not just trying to do like a humorous look at some of the weirdest nose breakings in the history no, we are doing a full comedy show, and them supporting us is a huge deal.
So who's the fighter that you'd want?
Who's the fighter that we'd want? I mean,
Is it
Tuivasa would be great.
Tai Tuivasa, who is the one who finishes his fight and then drinks a beer.
Pours a beer into a shoe, not his shoe. An audience
shoe.
member throws up their shoe.
Pours
With
a beer into
whatever
it.
athlete's foot is sitting in that thing. We're worried about COVID. This guy's drinking a beer out of someone else's shoe and then chugs the beer out of the shoe.
That guy would be great. Of course, Conor McGregor would be great. Of course, I mean,
one of the funniest guys we've had on the show in almost 8 years was Israel Adesanya.
really,
Amazing.
He's funny.
He
He's
came
an
on and he
outside the
talked
box.
about how he has visions of going into Allegiant Stadium of all places, right? That's the name
That's
of
the
in Vegas,
Raiders,
right?
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wants to go into the new Raiders home. It was hardly nothing had happened there, and he said he wanted to take on John Bones Jones and scrape his nuts over him, and in Las Vegas, Nevada, like literally that's the phrase he used. Correct? I'm not couching anything.
That's a quote unquote.
Scrape his own nuts over him.
Yes, over. For some
Yes.
reason, that was the verbiage he used.
Yeah.
Stop me in my tracks.
I mean, okay.
It strikes me like he's got a certain dark comedic side to
There's
him.
a trash talking to him. Yeah, I saw him like in a press conference, and he was going back and forth with someone, and he's like, "I'm going to make a TikTok dance out of you." I was like, "That is
Good.
great." I mean,
Please.
Patty Pimlet, Patty the Baddie.
Pimlet, Patty the Baddie's kind of fun too. He'd be a great guy to have on the show.
Fantastic.
What we hope is, and what people will see it, and we've had a bunch of fighters on the show in the first season, as you saw. Bobby Green was in it.
Yes.
Alex Perez did it. Forrest Griffin, who is fantastic, he did it. Yeah, that people will be like, "Oh, I want to do that show." We'll write something fun for you to do. And
We got to get people to watch it. The first one's on YouTube. If you don't have Fight Pass, you can go to UFC's YouTube and type the Nosebleeds, Sklar Brothers. You'll see it. Watch that episode. If you like it, mention you like it.
Okay.
And then and that's the way to support the show. And hopefully we'll get to make more next year.
Well, I mean, that's the way to support it. And everybody check out the Nosebleeds with the Sklar brothers. And I would say farewell to you both, but you're back here on Friday.
I'm going to come back tomorrow
How about
as
that?
this drops, and it's going to be a blast. And
I'm heading off to Canton, Ohio.
You are?
Where
You're
I'll
being
be doing
enshrined?
I am not.
Okay.
Do you know our story about Canton, Ohio?
I'm all ears.
Our mom's family moved to the States from the Holocaust to maybe a scarier place, Canton, Ohio. I'm just kidding. All right, so they go to Canton, Ohio, and they
escaped Nazi Germany
to go to Canton, Ohio. They move there. We visit them yearly as kids.
We're the biggest sports fans ever.
It's no joke. We're huge sports fans. Every year we go to Canton, Ohio. We ask every year our dad, can we go to the Football Hall of Fame? The reason why most people go to Canton, Ohio.
That is correct.
He's like, nah, it's too expensive.
It's a ripoff.
It's a ripoff. We're like, you can take us once to
Are
the
you
Football Hall of Fame.
joking? So we went for years and years and years and years, and we never went to
Have you never been to the Pro
So we
Football
went
Hall of Fame?
later.
So we were doing stuff for the NFL
with
Network.
our executive producer, who's the executive producer with the NFL Network. We
for
went.
the Nosebleeds, David Nickel, he took us
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You know Dave.
He's the EP on the Nosebleeds.
Very funny.
Fantastic dude. So we
Okay.
go to,
Nice combination.
and our Aunt Rita,
still lives in Canton, Ohio.
amazing woman.
So we were only going to be
Aunt Rita only speaks like her texts are all caps.
all caps.
We're
And
like,
one time she said to us, "You know who I don't like? That Jay Leno."
We're like, you mean
Jay Leno?
Who's only read it and never
You've
heard?
never heard someone say Jay Leno? All right, so
'Cause reading it looks like
she's there, and we said, "All right, we got a couple hours in Canton, and we have to shoot this thing for the NFL Network.
Yeah.
Meet us at the Football Hall of Fame, and we will simultaneously catch up with you and shoot this piece." And we decided to put it all in the piece. So we'd say to the guy who was curating the Hall of Fame, "Tell us about the bus room. Hang on one second. Aunt Rita, how's Dennis and Gordon?
How are they doing?
How are your sons doing?"
So we conducted a hangout with Aunt Rita and
a
our
learning
first time at the
Hall of
and then
Fame.
they said, "Aunt Rita, we love you. We're going to give you a lifetime pass,
To the Hall of Fame.
and you can bring one guest whoever you want."
And I think the Hall of Fame thought she would never use it. She is the kind of person who, anytime she gets something, if it's free, even if she doesn't like it, she will use it until they tell her.
She has used it so much that the Hall of Fame is like,
They're going to do a
cease
cease and desist. They're going to be like, "You got to stay away from the Hall."
You got to stay away.
This is crazy.
wow.
Yeah.
What a story.
And you're going to have a great time.
It's a great. It's a story, if I'm not mistaken, that is. It kind of touches upon everything about this great country. Immigration. Okay, immigrants, they get the job done.
They do.
Use the
Thank you.
phrase from
Thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yes, from Lin-Manuel Miranda from A Little Hamilton. It tells the story of love of football.
Sure.
100%.
Our love of football, not being able to get in, and then eventually working hard, coming back year after year, and finally making it to Canton.
And then a word that you guys will understand, the two of you Sklars, the story of schnoring.
Snoring.
The story of being a
Chutzpah
schnorer.
and snoring.
Getting
You know, just
getting over your skis, so to speak.
Overstaying your
Thank you.
welcome
Yes.
in a spot where they say everyone's welcome.
That's right.
Please come visit. And they're telling Aunt Rita, enough
We've had
with
enough
the
of you.
Bronco Nagurski bust.
Yeah, you're spending way too much time with the Butkus bus.
yeah.
But so while you're there,
Okay.
I'll be doing your show.
I appreciate
And Brockman and I will talk about being at the ESPYs together. I've got a great, I'll tease it. Great Brandy Chastain story.
Amazing
Fantastic.
Brandy Chastain
I'll tease
story.
that
Can
for tomorrow.
confirm.
We'll tell that tomorrow.
Can confirm.
Fantastic. Just you can't wear that shirt because everyone will remember that you wore it.
I'm going to wear a
the
different
day
shirt.
before.
I got more of these.
Okay.
There's more where that came from.
And if he has anything more from the Bella Caroli collection,
He's not going to be here. I ditched Jason.
Caroli collection. Yes, I need more of that.
did you know he's got a fashion line?
Bella Curley has a fashion line of very high polyester pants.
The Sklar brothers, check out the Nosebleeds with the Sklar brothers on UFC Fight Pass and tell others to go check it out. Their podcast, they're co-hosts of Dumb People Town along with Dan Van Kirk. You can get that where all podcasts are acquired right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Thank you for filling in, Randy.
Love you, buddy.
Enjoy your vacation that causes you not to be here, Jason.
Sorry.
We'll see you down the road together.
sure.
The Sklar
Thank you.
brothers on the Rich Eisen Show.